Hi everyone, thank you so much for choosing this gentle chair yoga class to try. Looking forward to seeing everybody in person again when we reopen, but until then, let's give this a shot and hopefully it will help you relieve some stress, stretch out some muscles, and maintain your fitness while we are closed temporarily. A couple of words about chair yoga before we get going. As you can see, I'm seated in a chair that doesn't have any arms. If you have a chair that doesn't have arms, that's better. But if your sturdy chairs have arms and you do want to have a sturdy chair to be in, certainly nothing with rollers, then go ahead and use the one with arms. We'll be able to make that work just fine. Also too, a little word about the surface that you're going to be working on. Make sure that you have a non-sliding or a non-slip surface, probably not a linoleum or a tile floor. If you have a carpet with a low pile or either a Berber type carpet, that would be great, but definitely something where both your feet and your chair won't be sliding a whole lot. One more word, I am going to be using a yoga block with some of our poses today and some of our stretches to kind of help extend the stretch. Maybe you don't have a yoga block at home. If not, fear not, that's okay. This is a time to be creative. I did a really quick search before I came here, and this is a pretty sturdy box that I got a Christmas present in, and I said, well, this is something that could substitute for a block if I didn't have a block at home. Also too, maybe you've got a book, a thick book that you could use, but it just needs to be something sturdy that will support, a little bit of weight, and again, that won't go slip sliding away. So a couple of things to think about before we get our practice started. So now that we have gone through that, let's go ahead and get our practice started. We'll start off with a good seated position. So as you're in your seated position, I want you to think about making sure that your ankles and your knees are in good alignment. Make sure that your knees and your hips are in alignment. Hands can just start resting on your thighs. I want you to think about sitting up so your sits bones are grounded into the chair, and yet the top of your head is reaching up toward your ceiling as you elongate through your spine. Relax the shoulders away from your ears and just kind of relax them down. And we're going to go ahead and start by focusing on our breath. So while we do this, if you want to turn your gaze to your mat, or you can also just simply close your eyes during this time. I want you to start off by breathing deeply in and out through the nose. As you take in nice deep breaths, feel the belly button kind of rise away from the spine. As you exhale deeply, feel the belly button kind of sink back toward the spine. As you inhale and exhale, soften the muscles around the jaw, relax the face, soften the forehead. This is the breath that we want to continue to keep through our practice today. Inhaling and exhaling deeply through the nose. Now let's go ahead and bring our gaze and our attention back to the center. We're going to start with some neck rolls. So let's start by taking the right ear, gently pressing it down towards the right shoulder, and then very slowly let the weight of the chin roll down toward your chest, and then just continue in a slow and gradual movement, rolling over to the left ear. When that ear reaches your left shoulder, go ahead and let that chin roll down towards the chest again. We always want to keep the weight of the head either to the side or to the front of the body, and not let that head drop towards the back. So just starting off with gentle rolls, side to side, nice and slow movements. The next time that you find yourself with your chin down toward your chest, go ahead and pause there for a moment. Think about tucking the chin in toward your chest and maybe trying to reach the top of the head out in front of you. And again, just breathing in this position. Hopefully you'll feel a really good stretch in the back of the neck. Now let's go ahead and bring our gaze back up to the center, again, making sure that we're still sitting up nice and tall, elongating through the spine, pressing the shoulders down. We're going to do some shoulder rolls. So think about taking the shoulders forward, then up, and then back and down. Again, nice slow movements here, starting to release tension in the neck. Starting to kind of warm up through the shoulders. As I like to say, just kind of starting to kind of shake the rust off of the joints. Maybe you've been sitting at your computer a lot while you've been checking updates. Just kind of roll those shoulders, and this is something you can do while you're sitting, either watching TV, watching a movie. And now the next time that you have your shoulders back and down in that slightly pinched position so that your chest is lifted, we're going to go ahead and stay here. I want you to kind of heel-toe walk your feet apart. If you have a mat at home, your feet will be out towards the outside edges of your mat. If not, then you want to think about your feet being out slightly wider than your hips. We're going to keep our hands rested here as we move into cat and cow. We're going to start by hinging forward at the waist. Lead with the top of the head and then bringing the chin forward, squeezing the elbows into the side, reaching forward. Think about pressing your chest down towards the mat. And then very gently pull the belly button into the spine, round the lower, middle, upper back. Let your chin just drop towards your chest and going into cat. Now we're going to move just slowly. Think about moving one vertebrae at a time, going in between these two poses, rounding through the back, and then again reaching forward with the head, then bringing the chin to follow, squeezing those shoulder blades. We're loosening up all the muscles that run along the spine, loosening up here, also stretching through the chest, just moving slowly between these two. Now the next time you find yourself in this forward position, we're going to stay here in this forward fold. Think about squeezing your shoulder blades together. We're going to go into a twist. So we're going to start by twisting to the right. I want you to bring your fingertips so now that they're facing each other inside your thighs. We're going to go ahead and press that left shoulder over towards your right knee. Your gaze should be over towards the right. And again, always breathe deeply. Especially when you're in twisted poses, really let the air in the lungs kind of expand the ribs, stretching the sides. Now we'll go ahead and bring those shoulders back center, and we'll do the same thing to the left side. So again, making sure that you've got a good squeeze between the shoulder blades. Go ahead and gently press now that right shoulder in towards your left knee. Your gaze is over towards the left now. And again, really breathe deeply in this position. Now let's go ahead, bring our shoulders back to the center. I want you to press your palms into your thighs and gently roll up here, bringing the shoulders back and down. We're going to heel-toe walk our feet together again. And this is where, if you have a block at home or whatever you're using for a block, you can use this to kind of deepen the stretch. If you don't have a block, or if you don't have anything to substitute for a block, that's okay. You can just do this with your heel staying right on the floor, and you're still going to get a good stretch. We're going to do a hamstring and calf stretch. So if you've got your block, go ahead and place it under your right foot. I want you to think about really pulling the toes back towards the body. Think about pressing the heel forward. We're still sitting up nice and tall, pulling the belly button in so that that lower spine is protected. Now from here, as you're comfortable, hinge forward from the waist. As you hinge forward, make sure that you really ground your sits bones into the chair and just hinge forward until you feel a good stretch on the back of the thigh, the hamstrings, and also through the back of the calf. Again, the more that you pull your toes back and press your heel forward, the deeper you're going to feel that stretch. Now, if you're in that stretch, go ahead and hold it. I just want to show folks that without the block, you can keep that heel right here on the floor. Just hinge forward. You're still going to get a really good stretch in the back of that leg with or without a block or a substitute for your block. Now let's go ahead. We'll take that, we'll bring our shoulders back up over our hips. We're going to go ahead and take that foot off of your block if you're using one. And of course, what we do with one side, we'll do with the other. So if you do have a block, you can go ahead and bring your heel to the back of that block. Again, resetting that good position, shoulders relaxed away from the ears, abdominals pulled in, and pulling the toes back, pressing the heel forward. Go ahead and just hinge down. Your gaze should be about 2 feet in front of your foot at this time. So just kind of let the eyes fall naturally where they would to keep your spine nice and straight. Again, shoulders are pressing down away from the ears. Relax the shoulders down. We don't want to create any undue tension by stressing those shoulders up towards the ears. And again, just hinge forward to the point where you start to feel a really good stretch on the back of the hamstring, the calf. And now very gently, we're going to bring the shoulders back over the hips. We'll take the foot off of the block if you're using one, and we'll go ahead and move that block just to the side for now. We're going to get ready to transition to a standing position, but before we do, let's do a little bit of work for the feet to kind of get them ready. So let's start simply by lifting the heels, holding them up for a second, and then bringing them back down. So as you lift your heels up, you can probably feel the muscles in your calves start to engage, and you might also feel a really good stretch right along the top of that lower part of the shin and the top of the ankle. So we're just going to kind of warm up those ankles a little bit. Let's do one more lift here on the heels, and then we'll leave our heels down, and let's go ahead and pick the toes up. So just picking the toes up, hold them. Now you should feel like those muscles on top of the ankle are starting to work, and you're getting a slight stretch in your calf at this point. So again, just kind of warming up here through the ankles. We'll do one more toe lift like this, and then let's put those two together. We'll roll up onto the toes, and then just kind of roll back and then lift the toes up. Let's do one more like that. And then we'll go ahead and bring the feet level, and we'll get ready to move and transition into a standing pose. Let's go ahead, take the chair. Normally I would say to have the chair in front of you, making sure that if you are using a mat, you've got at least 2 legs on the mat. But what I'm going to do for today, since we're filming this, I'm going to bring the chair to the side so that you can see what I'm doing without. Okay, so now that we've come to this standing position, we're going to start with the right leg forward. So let's go ahead and just lift up the left heel. We're going to slide that heel or those toes back away from the chair. Should be a slight bend in that front right knee. And then we've got the left back heel lifted off the mat. We're still thinking about elongating through the spine, reaching up tall, coming here into this high lunge position. Now, if you're comfortable here and you're okay with letting go of the chair, you can do that. However, if you would like to keep your hands on the chair, you can hold this through the rest of the variations, just keeping your hands. If you want to maybe just bring it to fingertips, you can. Maybe 1 or 2 fingertips, but always do what So we're here in this high lunge position. If you are comfortable, you can go ahead and walk your hands back to your right thigh. I want you to think about standing up nice and tall. Press the back hip forward just a little bit so that you will get a good stretch in your hip flexors. Now, if you are comfortable with your balance here and you want to, you can take one arm and then the other arm straight up overhead, palms facing in. Again, really important to support the lower spine by pulling the belly button in. Now, the tendency is to bring the arms up and have them in this position. I want you to think about as long as it is comfortable with your shoulders, try to draw the biceps back by your ear. It's like you're trying to reach your fingertips up, but yet your shoulders are still pressing away from your ears. Really breathe in this held position. Now, if you are comfortable in this position and you'd like to add a chest expansion, turn the palms so that they are facing forward and then draw the elbows in towards the side. Really think about squeezing the shoulder blades, pressing the chest forward. And then breathe deeply. Should feel a really deep stretch through the chest in this position. Good deep breaths in and out. And again, you're still pressing that hip forward, pulling the belly button in. Now, if you would like to deepen this stretch, you can pull your hands backwards just a little bit further behind the body. You should feel a really deep stretch at this point. Good deep breaths in and out. Now, if you've got your hands either overhead or in this chest stretch, one other option is to bring the hands here to heart center, pressing the palms and the fingertips together. And again, if you would like to work on balance, you can gently twist towards your right. That back heel is still pressing far back away from your body. Your abdominals are in, shoulders are relaxed and down. And just again, breathe in this held position. Now, if you have added that twist on at home, let's go ahead and bring the shoulders back to the center. We're going to walk one hand at a time, back down towards the back of the chair. We're going to bend that right knee just a little bit more. Slide the left toes up to meet the right. Still keeping that bend now in both legs. Now, if you want to and you're comfortable here, you can walk your hands to your thighs, coming into chair pose. And then gently pressing through the heels, roll the shoulders back and down. We'll place the hands back on the chair because, of course, what we do on the right side, we need to do on the left as well. So let's go ahead and rock back and forth on those feet just a little bit more here, getting ready to move to the left side. We'll start now by picking up the right heel, sliding that right foot back so that now you've got a bend in that front left knee. Back heel is still elevated. You're pressing the heel away and you're reaching up tall with your head so that you've got nice, good posture. Now remember, this chair is here for you to use. You can come back to this at any time you want to. This is your yoga practice. These are all options for you to take as you feel comfortable. So if you want to, you can walk your hands to your thighs. Remember, shoulders are down. Reaching the head up nice and tall and breathing. Now, option if you would like to, if you're comfortable here and you want to extend your arms overhead, drawing the biceps back behind the ears, you're welcome to do that. Again, we're reaching the fingertips up tall, but we're relaxing the shoulders down away from the ears. So this is a nice elongated position all the way from the fingertips through the back of that back heel. Now, option this time for a chest stretch if you would like to. Nice deep breath in. You can bring the hands behind the back, interlacing the fingers, pressing the knuckles down, rolling the shoulders back and down. Opening up here through the chest. And again, really breathe deeply in these chest expansion poses. Stretch put your hands either overhead or in this chest expansion option. Again, if you would like to, bring hands to heart center, relax the shoulders down away from the ears, and gently twist towards that front left knee. And again, breathe deeply in these twisted poses. Really let the air in the lungs expand those ribs out, stretch. Now, if you have moved into that twisted position, we'll go ahead and come back center. We'll walk both hands back down to the chair, and then bending both knees, let's slide that right foot in to meet the left. Again, bending both knees here. If you're comfortable, bringing the hands to the thighs, pressing up, rolling the shoulders back and down. We're going to go ahead and move back to the chair to a seated position again. All right, so now we're back in our seated position again. We're going to do just a few deep stretches for the hip muscles. And so again, I've got the block here with me. Again, if you don't have a block at home or something that you're using as a block, that's okay. You can do the stretches with or without. This is also a good chance to realize you can use your block and you can turn it in different directions to deepen the stretch. The higher up you have your block, the more deep of a stretch you're going to get for these next couple of things. The lower down, it's a little bit less of a stretch. But again, there's some different options and modifications for what we're going to do. I'm going to go ahead and start with my block up here so that it's a little bit higher level. We're going to start with the inner thigh stretch, a butterfly, a seated butterfly pose. So if you're using your block, you'll bring your feet to the top of your block with both feet, the bottom of the feet together, touching, and the knees just pressing out. Again, I want you to sit up nice and tall here. Anytime we switch positions, it's very easy to let this happen with your posture. I think you can look at this and see this is not so good. So we want to sit up nice and tall, ground the sits bones in, still relaxing the shoulders away. We're going to hold here in this pose just a little while because it's very common to have tight hips. So if you're here, I want you to go ahead and stay here. If you don't have a block, I want to go ahead and show you a modification that you can do that will still be a really good inner thigh stretch without using that block. So just hold there if that's where you are. Say you don't have a block to use, you don't have anything that you're substituting. You can walk your feet out again, kind of wider than you had them, like we did in the beginning for cat and cow. And then you can kind of do a couple of different things. You can gently apply pressure here on the inner thighs with your palms. Say if that doesn't really give you a very good stretch, if you want to, you can walk your forearms into there and just kind of press out. And then one final option is to kind of walk or press out with the forearms and just hinge forward a little bit further. But again, making sure to always ground those sits bones into the seat of the chair. So that's another option for you if you don't have that block. Now, if you are in that block pose, that seated butterfly pose, we'll come here and I'll show you another option. Say that you're starting to feel like your muscles have been stretched out. If you want to, you can also gently apply pressure here, just kind of pressing out. Only if it's comfortable to you. Everybody has a different range of flexibility. So just do what works the best for you to kind of stretch out these inner thigh muscles. We'll hold here just another second. Again, sitting up nice and tall, breathing deeply here. And then, if you want to, you can use your hands to kind of gently help those knees come back to center. We're going to go ahead and step off. We've stretched the inner thighs, so we're going to stretch the hips now. So we'll start with the right foot. One option is to use your block or substitute and bring that right ankle across just to rest. And as that knee falls open to the side, you might feel a stretch here in that outer thigh hip region. That may or may not be enough for you. So if you're comfortable, we can come into a full seated figure 4 stretch, bringing the ankle to rest on top of the thigh. And really important here to make sure that you're pulling the toes back so that you are protecting that knee joint. So really pull the toes back, flex the foot, again sitting up nice and tall in this good tall posture. Should be feeling a stretch right here in the outside of that hip. Now, if you want to and you're comfortable here, you can kind of reach forward with the chest, sitting up nice and tall, and just bring your chest slightly over that front shin. Then you should feel a really deep stretch in that outside hip. But again, remember, you can go anywhere on this progression with the stretch that works the best for you. Always do the stretch in the pose that feels the best for you. Modify always as you need to. We're going to hold here for just another second. And then if you have hinged forward, we'll go ahead and bring the shoulders back up over the hips again. If you want to, you can use your hand to gently help that leg uncross. And we'll do the same on the left side. So again, I'll just walk through those progressive steps. You can start here with your ankle rested on the block. One progression that I didn't show you last time was you can turn that block so that it's a little bit higher and then still keep the foot on the block. That's an option too as well. Or you can go ahead, bring the ankle all the way up to rest on the thigh, really pulling the toes back towards the knees, flexing the foot, still sitting up nice and tall, getting that stretch right here on that outside of that hip. And again, option if you feel comfortable, if you'd like to deepen that stretch by hinging forward, bringing the chest over that front shin, you can do that. Again, just breathe deeply in this position. Allow those muscles to stretch out. This is another stretch that you can do throughout the day, whether you're in the middle of practicing yoga or not. You could do this if you're sitting and working at a desk and you've got a sturdy chair, one without rollers. You could do this in commercial breaks as you're watching TV. So lots of opportunities to stretch out through the day. Now if you're hinged forward, let's go ahead and come back. Again, you may want to use that hand. And we're going to go into just a really brief relaxation. So if you're seated towards the front of your chair, go ahead and come to the back of it so that your back can rest. We're still thinking about keeping the shoulders rolled down away from the ears. And just like we started, we'll go ahead and either close your eyes or turn your gaze down towards your mat. Try not to let your shoulders slump forward. Try to still keep your shoulders back and down and relaxed. And again, just focus on the breath. Breathing in deeply and out deeply. Relaxing the muscles of the neck. Relax the jaw, soften the jaw. Soften the muscles throughout the forehead. Try not to focus attention on any thoughts. As you have those thoughts, you can acknowledge them, let them go. Focus the attention on the breath. We'll take just a few more breaths in and out. And we'll bring some awareness back to the body. Wiggle the fingers, wiggle the toes. And now we'll go ahead and lift our back off the seat of the chair, coming forward, bringing the gaze back. We'll bring hands to heart center. Namaste.